Hi everybody, just wanted to show you my small collection, very small collection of vintage snowmobiles. Certainly not show sleds by any means, these are just survivors. I would not take these to a vintage show and show them off because they are not restored. They all run. This one, we'll start with this one's a 1980 Scorpion TK 440, Trail King 440cc. When I got this sled last year, it was pretty much a basket case. Through the help of many people on Facebook groups, Scorpion groups, I was able to purchase parts to semi-restore the sled back to running condition and operating condition, full of mice, poo-poo, and squirrels, and had gotten into it and into the crankcase, and it was just a disaster. But this has turned out to be, with the help of a friend, he rebuilt the motor for me, all new crank seals and gaskets and pistons and rings, and this thing runs like a dream. I think I have probably pop the hood on it. This was so nasty inside. I wish I could have done it before of this. This was just plumb full of mouse nesting and poop, the entire thing. And the carburetor was off of it. This stuff was off. The muffler was off, and everything was just, it was a haven for rodents, let's put it that way. We'll move on to the very first sled I ever bought as a 21-year-old guy. This is a 1983 Yamaha Enticer 300. Yamaha introduced this line in 1978, and I believe they were 250cc in 1978, and then I think in 1980 they introduced the 300cc models. As I said before, this is a 1983, the very first sled I ever bought. Still running great, needs work. Yes, it needs to be gone through and cleaned out, but it runs. I hear a snowmobile actually in the background. That's strange. By the way, we're supposed to get a big snowstorm today, 6 to 9 inches of snow, and this is all, you can see the grass. This is not even probably maybe 2 inches of snow. These Yamaha Enticers are pretty much bulletproof. I don't really do the maintenance I should on them, and it still runs, other than clean the carb once in a while. I should be going through everything, the suspension and lubing the chassis and basic maintenance that I really don't do, but this sled has never let me down. This sled here is a 1985 Yamaha PHAZER 485. Now this they referred to back in the day as the Darth Vader of snowmobiles. I guess the way it looks, this headlight, when you turn, this headlight turns with it. It's pretty neat, pretty sleek looking. They introduced the PHAZER model in 1984, and that went all the way until this design went all the way until, I believe, 1998, and then they changed designs completely to something different, more upright seating to keep up with like Skidoo and Arctic Cat. They were all going with a new chassis. So it's just a really cool looking sled. I just put a brand new seat cover on it. Didn't do a very good job. I don't know what I'm doing, but I put it on there. But it's, as you can see, it's just a really cool design. This is the most comfortable sled out of the three to ride because it has hand warmers and a thumb warmer, I believe, and then the suspension's a little better. Although this is very outdated, but you can see the suspension's not bad. That should actually spring up a little bit more. That's what I was talking about, maintenance, folks. You got to maintain these things, and they are a bear to maintain because almost every time you take these snowmobiles out for a ride, there's almost undoubtedly something that goes wrong with them, and you have to bring them in a shop or pull them in your garage or shed and work on them. I guess they say that's part of the fun of snowmobiling. But anyway, I just want to share with you the 3 vintage sleds that I own. This one is my personal favorite because this is the very first snowmobile I ever got to ride when I was about 12 years old. There was a neighbor that had this same exact model of sled, and imagine the thrill of being a 12-year-old jumping on something like this. This thing will probably do 70 miles an hour, I'm guessing, maybe more. It was a blast, and I'll remember it forever. So this one's very near and dear to my heart. I'm surprised I found it out here in Indiana. Obviously not the same exact sled, but same model. I just added this vent for cooling because these Kiona 440s were known to overheat. So you have to let the air out. Some very poor hood design, even though the hood's really cool looking. It's just a kind of a poor design because they didn't have much ventilation. Actually, they didn't have any ventilation for the heat to get out and the cold air to come in to cool the engine. Even though these are fan cooled, there was no vents here. So I, once again, bought this part off a guy in Michigan, cut this drew a template, cut it out. And then he also sold me this duct that attaches to the PTO. I have not fixed it to the clutch cover yet, but I will. And then it lets the hot air out from the motor out through that vent, and it helps with cooling, so you're not burning pistons up like crazy. As far as these Yamahas, these things are like bulletproof. I don't know. It was other than cleaning carbs, they run forever. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're into vintage sleds, drop a comment, hit the subscribe button, or show us some of your videos of your vintage collection. I really enjoy watching them on YouTube, and that's what inspired me to make this video. Happy sledding, folks.